media, man. I totally understand what you're saying, and I totally get it. As far as the Chappelle sketch, not the sketch, but like as far as the Chappelle special goes, I didn't necessarily think it was the funniest thing. I didn't really think there was a whole lot of jokes, but I did think that there was a lot of excellent storytelling in there. And I think that a lot of the point got muddied. It's almost like when Kanye talks.
Absolutely.
I mean? A lot of the point just gets real muddy to the point where it's very hard for me to explain to somebody what you mean by what you're saying.
But the difference there is that Dave Chappelle has an incredible amount of charisma.
Yeah.
And has...
and that's what worries me.
A professional career in comedy.
Yeah.
That allows him to kind of rally from these kind of strange opinions.
Yeah, but here's what worries me though,
these direct opinions.
Because some of the things that he was saying are so inflammatory by nature that if you are a impressionable, stupid motherfucker who like hears everything he's saying and doesn't take it with a grain of salt and injecting your own personal opinion on it, you know, you might hear it and be all like, yeah, this is my cue to say fuck the trans people and fuck the trans community because I've been that's feeling what Dave Chappelle said, and he's a big guy. And
and I love the Chappelle show. Rick James, fuck your couch.
And it's like, bro, I don't think that's what he's saying because I don't believe that Dave is transphobic.
I'm talking about like the
I know what you mean. I'm talking about them.
Continue your point.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
And when they get out there and they rally behind that and they're going off of like what somebody might have irresponsibly said with their platform, it's like, bro, you're making it worse. And that's what I'm like concerned about.
Gotcha.
Because I got ashier aspects of my fucking timeline that are looking at this shit like, yeah, man, we're not canceling fucking Dave Chappelle. Well, first of all, he didn't do anything to necessarily get canceled. He's beating a dead horse.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's what you motherfuckers do, right, that really determines what happens to Dave Chappelle as a whole. Like, when you have a group of individuals, like here's the deal, like Joe Rogan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there was definitely an attempt to cancel Joe Rogan. Actually, multiple attempts, to cancel Joe Rogan. But the thing is that the circles in which Joe Rogan would be canceled, the circles in which that Joe Rogan those opinions would be like demonized, like would be demonized, right? They're not listening to the podcast in the first place.
Yeah, so you're not canceling him.
You're not canceling shit. Like his fan base.
You're not necessarily taking opportunities away from him because the circles that he's resonating with don't care.
Yeah, it's a bit different, right? With like a person like Joe Rogan versus like a person like Harvey Weinstein. Right?
Yeah, but Netflix is in an entirely different situation.
No.
And I don't think they're going to cancel either because I don't think that he deserves to be canceled, but I do think that there's a lot of things in here that need to be rectified. Me personally, I have a massive issue with him saying that he's team, quote, turf.
Yeah, I was about to say that was pretty inflammatory.
Turf is such a derogatory term, especially for that community, that it's like, you know, whatever. Especially when you've already said things in the special that said that you're not a, quote, turf.
Yeah, and to explain what TERF is, let me see if I remember this right. It was trans exclusionary, radical feminist. All right.
Yeah.
And he was, and during the special, he did have a bit where he was talking about. He was like, I feel like I am a true feminist, and he gave the Webster.
He gave the Webster dictionary definition of what a feminist is, and I think that's always a terrible idea.
Yeah, it's pretty there's no context.
I ain't no racist. Look at the definition of racism.
Pick it up,
now,
man.
Anyway, these niggers need to.
Like, I don't believe separate but equal. Damn it, separate but equal.
And that's what bothers me because it's just like, all right, we can talk about the definitions of things, and I do think that by virtue he is a feminist and he cares about people's rights and all that other shit.
Yeah,
but when you align yourself, even by fucking vocalizing it, with a group of legitimately hateful people, and
you give them all the more power, all the more excuse. You
and
give them more ammunition.
Like, you know, my favorite one of my favorite YouTubers is a trans woman. Her name is Natalie. She runs a channel called ContraPoints, and it's always about like unpacking the nuance of different subjects, you know. And Natalie was born and raised as a man. She lives in Baltimore, and she's a classic trans woman, which means she wants to present as a woman, etc., etc., whatever. She uses female affirming pronouns, the whole nine, you know? And the trans community is such a spectrum that it's like, you know, there's some people who want to identify ambiguously, etc., etc. So when you don't attack that same subject with the same nuance, and you have such a massive platform, you could harm the larger community at large. Even the lady that he was speaking on at the end of, you know, his special,
which is, you know, why we call it the closer, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, so as a closer, like, he's just closing out his whole Netflix thing, and he's closing out him talking about the trans community in general.
He did mention actually that he was no longer going to be discussing the.
And I'm glad, because I don't want to hear it no more.
Yeah, I think that at this point he said what he could say. I agree with you that maybe he was beating a dead horse.
Yeah, and I mean, he used the term punching down inside of the special. And, you know, I agree. You can't punch down on a community that has so much swing inside the media and inside the grander scheme of things. Because, like, it seems, and as this is just me speaking as a black man.
Yeah.
It seems that every time something bad happens to somebody who's trans in the media or in the larger mainstream media, suddenly they're demonized and put into a whole different category. But that's still not happening at large for the black community. And it's just like, okay, well, look, at the end of the day, I'm black first, and all this shit kind of going on. It's just, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get it, because look, I wake up every day black, right? And we both deal with, right, the backlash, the baggage, baggage of being a black male in fucking America. It's a rough experience. It can be tiring at times. You know, there are expectations of you. I guess everybody has expectations, but there's a weight, a pressure that is almost consistently there. I can't go driving without spending like 60% of the time in my review.
And I'm automatically gonna be categorized based off how I look off rip. And as a person who might be a female passing trans woman or a male passing trans person, et cetera, you still have that opportunity to not be that, you know? And my own issues with the Chappelle special be damned. It's just tacky to talk about.
Yeah, I honestly feel like at this point now, I feel like the past specials, right? Sticks and Stones, the bird one. I can't remember the name of the bird one. Like